Good evening. We're calling to order the Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, December 16th. We do have a quorum, and we are going to start today with some awards and recognition. Dr. Weber.
Yeah, we have one award that I want to recognize and two recipients who they and their teams were key contributors for. I was given explicit instructions to read.
Good,
so
read.
I will be reading. I am happy to announce the Government Financial Officers Association of the U.S. and Canada, GFOA, has awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to Rogue Community College for its annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2024, which we'll hear more about tonight. The report has been judged by an impartial panel to meet the high standards of the program, which includes demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure, to clearly communicate its financial story and motivate potential users and user groups to read the report. So the Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting. And this attainment represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. What I will add is, if you think about our institution and our mission, vision, values, and our WIGs, our fourth WIG, a wildly important goal, is institutional excellence. And I think receipt of this award clearly demonstrates institutional excellence. So it is my honor to provide team leaders, Debbie Dice and Tammy Kennedy, with certificates. And so if you'll help me in showing them our appreciation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any comments? You don't have to make any. Thank you.
Don't you have an agenda? Because I can talk along to this.
True. Save it for the MAC meeting.
Very, very nice job. Thank you so much for making RCC look good. Your very, very hard work. We really appreciate that. Rochelle, do we have any public comments?
Public comment.
Okay. Before we do it, I'm going to read just a short little statement. Welcome to the RCC Board of Education meeting. This is a public meeting and you are being recorded in accordance with Oregon Public Meeting Law. For the record, please state your first and last name and then about 2 minutes to speak.
Thanks, Vanessa. Okay, so hello, good evening. My name is Chelsea Darty and I'm the faculty. I'm a faculty member in the pre-college department at RCC. But as of today, I was elected as the president of the RCC chapter of the AAWCC. And so today I'm here to give you an update on what the AAWCC has been up to this year. And then I'm also with...
I'm Rachel Ostrowski, and I'm the Assistant Director of High School Partnerships here at RCC, and I'm the co-events coordinator for the AAWCC.
So AAWCC exists to support, advance, and connect women in community colleges through leadership development, professional growth, and community building. While our focus is on women, our program is inclusive and open to all to support equity, belonging, and student success at RCC. This past year, we're really excited. We've experienced a significant membership growth. In 2025, as of now, we went from having 27 members last year and 2 students to 46 members and 15 students as of today. This represents the highest membership total we've had since the pandemic, and it reflects increased engagement across all campuses. We were also very intentional about the number and types of activities we offered to foster connection and belonging. Our after-work mixers were our first time for this year, and they were a huge success. We also did, if some of you might have seen in the Rogue report, guess how many candies are in the jar for each campus, and that was also a huge success and very fun. And earlier today, we hosted our winter retreat. That's where we were earlier, which had the highest registration since before the pandemic, and we had 39 registrations and participants. And then, oh, this next section's mine too, okay. In terms of leadership development, we also support participation in the Oregon Institute for Leadership Development, or OILD, by sending 2 representatives, and this year it was myself and Raylan Horton. And beyond skill building, the OILD allowed us to build meaningful connections with community college colleagues from around the state, creating a strong sense of belonging and lasting professional support network for all of us in attendance. We were also inspired that day to hear from 6 female Oregon Community College presidents, which was really enlightening to hear their direct experience as leadership. And it was an insight into what it means to lead at that presidential level. I'd also like to extend a special thank you to President Randy Weber and the leadership team for their continued support of RCC employees' participation in OILD. I'll pass it off to Joel.
So we're really excited that this year the AAWCC RCC chapter was able to award 2 student scholarships in the amount of $1,500 each. These scholarships are made possible through successful fundraising efforts throughout the year. We do flower and drink sales at commencement, and we raised just under $2,000 this year. Our spring and fall clothing sales raised about $3,000 respectively. And today during the winter retreat, we raised another $246 dollars that all goes to directly support students and operating the AAWCC. We're really excited looking ahead. Our upcoming programming is outlined, and we're going to leave some packets on the back table for you to look at, but they're designed to support RCC's mission in strengthening connection, leadership development, and cross-campus collaboration, while also generating those funds for our students. And we are really lucky to hear from our scholarship recipients today, and they're just really grateful. So we would hope you would be able to attend future events. It is American Association of Women in Community College, but everybody is open. We do champion women, but the membership is open to anybody. And yeah. Go. Sorry, we've been talking all day.
Yeah.
So thank you, board, college leadership, and the many departments and partners across RCC who collaborated to help make this past year one of AAWCC's strongest and most impactful yet.
Thank you.
Thank you. Always nice to hear positive public comments. I love it. Thank you very much. All right, we're moving on with our agenda to our information presentation and our audit report from Kristen Diggs. Any introduction we need to do?
I'll let Mike.
Yes, good evening, Mike Pollock, Chief Financial Officer. I'm going to introduce Kristen Diggs. She is a certified public accountant and partner for the independent audit firm Eide Bailly. She is going to present on her comprehensive financial report. Kristen, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Perfect. Do you guys want me to share the financial statement? Okay, I can do that. Hopefully. Let's see. Yep. All right. Do you guys see something that says independent auditors report?
We do, but can you blow it up a little bit?
I can.
Yeah.
How's that?
Perfect.
Good. Okay. Awesome. Well, first off, I believe that was Michael. I'm not quite sure, but I did want to say thank you to everyone at RCC. The audit process is a process that it's not something that happens in a short amount of time. It's something that we basically start as soon as we're done with the prior year audit. We give them a couple months off, but it's something that we're looking at in late spring. We're talking with management, looking at the changes that have taken place during the year, the anticipated changes that are supposed to take place by the end of the year, as well as where their federal funding is sitting and if there's been any changes in that. And so that kind of, with management's help, we kind of build a game plan as to what we're going to do, what we're going to take a look at during the audit. And so this is a process basically that starts May until essentially now. It's going to go a little bit longer because of single audit, which I'll go into a little bit, but it is a long process. And so it is no small feat getting through it. And so we do appreciate everyone's help. We appreciate Lisa, Debbie, Michael, everyone at RCC for all their help getting through everything. And so with the process, when we first start the audit process, we primarily look at the federal funds when we start off. So during the summer months, we're looking at the student financial assistance, and we're looking through any other federal assistance that the college has received during the year based upon our risk assessment. This year, the programs that we took a look at were student financial aid and TRIO, and then we're going to be looking at another program as well. One of the complications that took place this year, which is why you're not seeing the single audit as part of the financial statements that you typically do, is that the compliance supplement, something that typically gets issued either anywhere from May to August, didn't get issued this year until I think it was 2 days before Thanksgiving. And so as a result of that, we can't issue financial statements until those get issued. And we don't know 100% what's going to be in the final compliance supplement until it gets issued. They issued a draft, but you still never know. And so we can plan for it. We tried to get as much of the testing done as possible, but because of that delay, you're not seeing the single audit as part of it. So we will do that later on. We're working on getting that all wrapped up right now, but because of that compliance supplement, there was a delay in issuing the single audit with the financial statements. With the financial statements based upon all of our testing. So we did, we came back out essentially and did testing in October. So we do the federal funds testing during the summer, and then we come back out once the financial statements, the trial balance has been wrapped and everything like that. And we perform our testing over the financial statements as well as wrap up testing over the single audit. With our testing, we go through and we are doing a risk-based approach where we're focusing heavily on the different revenue streams that are received by the college. We're looking at significant asset balances, confirming those balances. We are pulling lots of samples and testing it. We're performing unrecorded liability searches to make sure the liabilities are complete. We're confirming the outstanding debt that the college has, and then performing analytics over all of it, including the revenue stream, the expenses, all that stuff. And then based upon that, we're able to issue an opinion. With the opinion that you see here, this is an unmodified opinion. And so that means it's a clean opinion. So that's the highest opinion that we can give. And what it says is the financial statements that you see here are materially accurate based upon the testing that we performed. The one thing that I did want to call out in the opinion is on page 2 of the opinion is a change in accounting estimate this year. And so this is a paragraph that we typically call an emphasis of a matter because we just want to call your attention to it. This is not an error. All this is saying is in the current year, there was a change in how management was calculating the its scholarship allowance. And so what this is NACUBO, which is the National Association of College and Business Officers, put out some guidance that says, hey, colleges, you have better information from your systems now. And because of this better information, we think you can calculate this scholarship allowance. So essentially what it is with the student financial aid that's issued each year, whether it's from, the Student Financial Aid Assistance Cluster or some other means, a lot of those costs primarily go towards tuition and fees. And what they want you to do is calculate how much of those go towards tuition and fees. Because of the systems that the colleges have now, they can better estimate that amount. And so what it did was it resulted in that scholarship allowance being higher than what it's been in prior years. With that scholarship allowance, there's no net impact to the statement of revenue and expenses and changes in net position. It's simply a classification of where it sits between the scholarship expense on the operating expenses and being netted against tuition income. So it's simply a presentation, but it was a material dollar amount. And so we did call it out as a change in estimate in the current year. So I did want to make you aware of that. And it's detailed out further in the report. We have a footnote breaking out what the impact of that is. And it's on page 42 of the PDF or page 36 of the report. You can see what the impact of that change is going to be. So I did want to call that out. But as far as the opinions go, this is a clean opinion over the financial statements. We did issue 2 other opinions as a result of our audit procedures in the current year. I'm going to see if I can get this right on the PDF. So the other opinion that we issued is our independent auditors report over Oregon state regulations. So in the state of Oregon, we are required to look at certain compliance aspects and make sure that we don't come across anything that would cause any issues. And so those are laid out here, these are the different areas that we take a look at as part of our procedures. We're given an audit program that we take a look at by the state. And so based upon that, we look at the budget process. We're looking to see if there's any budget overages. Are they deposited in the correct funds, that sort of thing. And so based upon that testing, we did not come across any issues. And so again, this is an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion. The last opinion that we issued as a result of our financial statements is our independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting. And what this opinion is what we call our yellow book opinion. And it's because the book that it's based off is yellow. But this report is, if we had anything, if we felt that there was a breakdown in internal control as a result of our testing, if we go through and we perform walkthroughs over the different processes, if we would have had any material audit adjustments, anything like that, we felt that needed to be talked about as a finding to management or to the board. This is where we'd have the opportunity to talk about it. We did not have that this year. And so again, this is an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion. And so as far as that goes, that's all I have on the financial statements. I was going to go over the governance letter as well, but are there any questions on the financial statements before I move on?
Not hearing any from the board.
Okay. So the other document that hopefully you have a copy of, it's a 5-page letter, and it's what we call our governance letter. And so what this does is this talks about the audit at a high level. It talks about what our responsibility are as auditors. It talks about what management's responsibility is. And it talks about if there was any new standards that were implemented, if there was any adjustments that were found as a result of audit procedures, and any past adjustments. And so it just basically, this is a good kind of summary of what takes place during the audit. Most of it's boilerplate language in here, but there was one thing that I wanted to call out. In the current year, there was a new standard that was effective, and it's called GASB 101, which is related to compensated absences. And what the standard tried to achieve is it tried to basically make all the different government entities more consistent on how they treated compensated absences. And so what this is any type of leave that an institution or government entity provides their employees should get accrued for if it's more likely than not to be paid out, unless it gets paid out to a defined benefit or OPEB plan. So with that, we took a look at that this year. There was no material impact on the financial statements as a result of this. And part of that was due to, there's two main types of leave. One is accrued vacation, which has always been accrued for on the financial statements because it's paid out. The other one was sick leave. And so because of how the policy is for RCC, where half of it goes into the pension plan, management took a look at it and said, okay, more likely than not, that's going to be paid out through means of the pension plan. And so as a result, we're not going to accrue a liability. And so you did not see a material impact as a result of those. And it goes through and talks about it in note 1 to the financial statements, but I did want to call that piece of it out. The other piece of it that I did want to call out in the letter is we did not have any audit adjustments as a result of our audit procedures, but we did have several past adjustments. And what these are is they're items that we recognize the fact that there's a difference, and management has decided, due to them not being material to the overall financial statements, not to record them. And so this goes through and summarizes what there were. Some of it was items that were found in the current year that were run through the current year that we elected, or management elected, to pass on recording any kind of prior period adjustment related to it. The first one related to property taxes. There was an item that was found in the property taxes in the current year. And so it was trued up in the current year, and there's about $340,000 that was run through current year activity that related to prior year. The second one relates to accounts payable. And so management has a cutoff as to when they accrue for accounts payable so they can get the books closed on a timely basis. They track anything that's received after that. And so this is an adjustment that we pass on every year. The impact of that in the current year was the overall accounts payable was understated by about $112,000. The overall net income impact was about $40,000 in the current year. Another one was related to the HRSA grant, and there was a decision by management to use federal funds in the current year where they they were thinking they were going to use federal funds to handle reimbursement for expenditures they are incurring related to some construction on campus. And so because of that decision, there is a past adjustment where federal funds, they ran the activity through in the current year and passed on the prior period adjustment related to that. And that was about $523,000 in the current year. The other one relates to increasing the allowance for doubtful accounts. And this was a past adjustment of about $200,000. And the reason we passed on this year is the overall accounts receivable related to the student tuition increased in the current year significantly due to the change in systems. However, with how Oregon is set up and how next year's a kicker, management's anticipating getting a significant amount of that outstanding AR collected next year. And so we agreed to pass on the difference. We'll see how everything falls out next year, and then there may be an adjustment to the allowance for doubtful accounts. But there's a little bit unknown, and so they didn't want to record that. So we agreed to pass on it with management. And then the other piece is just related to the implementation of GASB 101, and there's just a small difference related to the liability, and that was about $228,000. So overall, it goes through and it talks about what the impact to it. So the overall ending net position impact is about 310,000. So overall, not material to the overall financial statements. It's just the ins and outs of it. So we were required to just disclose it, let you know about it, but overall not material to the financial statements. The other thing that we have in the letter again is related to that change in accounting estimate and just calling out the fact that there was a change in the accounting estimate in the current year. So any questions? I know I went through it super fast.
None from you. Gary or Maria, anything from you? Okay. You went fast, but you did a very good job.
Thanks. But I really do appreciate it's management. This takes a lot to get through it. And so we really do appreciate everyone's time getting through it.
They appreciate you giving them a couple months so they can do budgeting.
Yeah, just a couple.
The
Just a
budget
couple.
season or audit season, those are your
Yeah.
seasons.
Yeah, they don't get a break.
No, not really. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
All right.
I just, if I can, before we jump
Yep,
to the next
go ahead.
topic, I just want to say thanks a bunch to our team. It does take a tremendous amount of work. You can see from the award tonight, not only do they put a lot of work into it, they do very good work. So I'd like to be on record of acknowledging and thanking you guys and your team who share, please share this appreciation forward.
I wrote down unmodified, the highest opinion, like clearly we have award-winning people doing good work. So thank you. Make sure you share that with your team. All right, we're moving on to our college reports. I don't see any written reports, but do we have anybody online to do?
Micah is on.
Micah's online, yay.
Hello.
Hi, Micah. Thank you for zooming in tonight.
Of course. All right. It's sort of a shorter report than usual, but I shall start. So the big main event that ASG put on was the Study Cafe, which was across all three campuses. We had the most people at TRC, but there was 80 people in total, which is what we usually get across all three campuses. And it's basically just an event where students have a quiet place to study among friends or peers, and we provide food, which is waffles. We provide waffles for them and coffee. And then another big event that we did was, well, not we, but Gaming Club put on was their Smash Bros tournament, which they call Mashers. This is their 11th so far, and it was done at Redwood campus, and there was 70 people. It's usually our biggest single event that the campus puts on, at least clubs wise. And I was there briefly because it was the same day. It was December 6th. It was the same day as the Study Cafe at Redwood too. So I sort of swapped between both events, but it went well. It was very chaotic. And then AZP, or Alpha Zeta Pi, put on the Pet a Pup event, where they bring in basically emotional support animals for students working on finals. And that was last weekend at all three campuses. They also do that every term. And then not an event, but the ASG advisors met with all the officers for end of term evaluations. Yeah, and that's it. Do you guys have any questions?
I like the idea of a waffle party. That's a kind of study food right there, so. I think, questions for you?
Well, I was gonna share that Micah is sharing his break with you since classes have ended, so we'll ask Micah. What plans do you have over the break? Anything fun? I know you got a big family locally.
Yeah. Mostly just the usual family stuff. Because my family's so big, we're doing multiple events just to get all the family uh you know together. The 21st we're meeting so my nephews can open up their gifts. And then the 25th we're doing proper Christmas, but I'm not sure who can show up because my siblings have their partners' families. So
That's what happens as you adults. To share your kids with other people. Thank you, it's not. Well, Micah, thank you so much for your time and for zooming in on your break. We appreciate you.
thank you.
Do we have anyone from Faculty Association? Faculty Senate or? Moving on to board reports. Roger, Executive Committee.
Yeah, I guess my turn again. The executive committee met, and in addition to talking about our agendas for this evening, the work session and the board, we talked about something that's been discussed before, the timing of our strategic plan and the accreditation process. And that's already been reviewed, but we talked about it at that meeting. We also talked about the ongoing process with the Transportation Technology Center. And we'll be hearing, I think Greg's gonna. Yep, okay, yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. And my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Randy, but the process, there was a spreadsheet in the packet this time that showed where the dollars are coming from and how the bond dollars, I think, are gonna be finally totally expended, where the dollars are coming from for the technology center. And the fact that the dollars are going to be allocated with priority to the building itself as opposed to the equipment, because we recognize that we don't want to build a building and outgrow it from the time that it's going into service. We just as soon have a bigger building and try to raise some dollars, capital campaign to fill up the equipment, my understanding. Unless I missed.
Pretty darn good understanding.
Okay, well, occasionally that happens. So anyway, we're trying to utilize the available resources in the most efficient way. We talked about the facilities master plan. That's going to be coming online a little bit later. Coordinating with possible bond election, et cetera, maybe 27, 28, et cetera. So that's coming down the line. We did talk about that a little bit. And we also talked about another topic that I think Randy's going to be discussing in greater detail, the HEC initiative for integration in higher education. So it was a good meeting.
Yeah.
Talked about a lot of good stuff. Miss anything?
No.
Okay.
Board outreach. Pat, Jonathan?
I don't have anything, neither does Jonathan.
Okay, there we go. That's pretty
Okay.
fast. OCC, OSBA liaison.
Yes. First of all, I want to ask everybody, if you haven't already done so, they're looking for everybody that attended the conference to fill out the questionnaire, because, you'd think out of 200 plus professional people that are in the higher education, more than 27 could fill out the questionnaire. So
like the evaluation.
yeah, I asked if I could get the names of my board members.
Yeah.
To maybe, and they said no. So you're safe for me giving you the stink eye, but you might get a virtual stink eye if you don't fill it out. All those people that went, Dave, I'm gonna be watching you. But more important things than that.
I don't know, 27 could have been our whole team.
Yeah.
RCC could have been the people who turned it in.
You know, I was at the
Yard.
service committee, and
Excellent.
there was people there that had filled them out. So I know that we didn't get all 27, so.
But it could have been pretty close, Pat, I'm just saying.
So the biggest thing that's gone on lately is legislative priorities. And I'm gonna skip the one that probably Randy wants to talk about. So the way this works, the legislative committee gathers, and Jonathan, you're on that, aren't you? Or, okay, so we set up our legislative top priorities, and then we talk about the issues we're gonna monitor. So that, as you can well imagine, the biggest single priority is protecting the CCSF. And those people that don't know, that's the Community College Support Fund. That's the main bucket that we get most of our funds from. From the 5% reduction that was called for when the first budget forecast went out. I think we won't know until May about if we're gonna be held harmless or not, the final budget, because it's in flux. Preserving access to the Oregon Promise Program, protecting career pathways program from elimination. So pretty harsh stuff. And the issues we're going to monitor is the OHECA, which you're going to talk about, the Oregon Higher Education Coordinating Act. I assume that's, unless you want me to talk about it.
Oh, dear.
I feel unqualified to talk about it. We'll talk about it though. It's going to try and coordinate all the institutions of secondary education in the state of Oregon and provide us direct things we can and cannot do, such as community college couldn't offer baccalaureate. That's reserved for other schools. Bigger schools can do some things, smaller. Actually, I took it kind of as an elected official. I take it kind of in the front because it takes a lot of our sovereignty. It talks about tuition, how we determine what tuition is. A lot of the things we sit here in this table for, it goes away. And I'm gonna let you fill in on that.
I probably set you up for a little trap there. That's not.
Yeah, why don't you wait? Let me finish that the rest of
Just say on that act, because it is kind of important. I want you to finish the rest of them.
Okay.
On that act in particular, it has been revised. So the author of it has revised it to be a review and assessment. So it is not prescriptive,
Right.
but it is asking the legislation to review and assess post-secondary. So it's already changed from the what's floating around the state.
The draconian thing that,
Yeah.
it's hard to get me fired up. I was fired up. When that was
You see, I'm just trying to lower your blood pressure as fast as I can.
Okay. The Oregon student, the Association of Students in Oregon wants some autonomy on student fees. And that's going to be one of the bills that we're going to be monitoring. The dual credit qualification, because there's kind of a bifurcated system between community colleges and higher education, where higher education can have non-master's qualified instructors instruct a class, whereas we cannot. And they want to level the playing field, and there'll be much to do about that. Public meeting laws and the rules on meals, and I talked to Rochelle about this. What was the name of that whiskey that was?
Happy's.
Yeah, Pappy's. You guys remember the big stink about OLCC and their buddies? We're the only ones that got it. Well, they're saying that public officials and their ilk are taking advantage of the situation, and we're getting way too extravagant in our meals. I'm calling this a Fig Newton affair myself. If they try and take away the Fig Newtons, they're going to have a problem. Public meeting, a short-term workforce Pell, and Bachelor of Applied Science. Those are the issues we're going to monitor. But that's in the way the process works. The legislature committee meets, they propose this draft, and then it goes to the board to be approved by both the college presidents and the board representatives. So that's what we're going to be looking at for this year, and I will report back in future months about how we're doing. Okay.
A lot in short session.
Yeah.
All right, Foundation Board, Maria or Paul?
I've learned well that I will just let Cass talk for herself.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got the thumbs up from Maria, so.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our college updates, and we'll start with Dr. Weber.
Yeah, I can cast talk for me too. Couple updates. To follow up on some of what Pat was mentioning. So right, the first quarterly revenue forecast was pretty significantly was concerning in a significant way. The budget, the governor asked each agency to draw up what a 5% cut for the biennium would look like. The next forecast came out. It looked a little bit more promising, but it had more to do with one-time tax collections from corporate and not because of ongoing revenues. So the problem that's been created essentially from Oregon's tax law mirroring federal tax law, and I mean, to be candid about it, the impact of tips, overtime, and some specific LLC exemptions is looking at reducing Oregon revenue by over $800 million. And so that's not going away. So the one-time corporate tax adjustments came in, made this biennium look a little bit, but that's going to be a problem for the foreseeable future because Oregon tax code does state that it will mirror federal. So I wanted to say and a little bit of further clarification to Pat's point, what will happen is the next revenue projection will come out right before short session. So that'll give legislators an opportunity to plan for what they see any cuts are. But I'll provide a reminder, if you were around 20 years or plus ago, when we had our last significant revenue challenges, they made multiple cuts throughout the biennium. So it wasn't just if we got on the other side of short session, we're okay. There continued to be additional cuts. And so I just want to help people remember that we're not in the free and clear after short session. It's definitely kind of a very key point in time. And then when they make biennium cuts, the challenge becomes they're looking at the cuts for 2 years, but we're getting it all in 1 year. That becomes the other major challenge there. I wanted to give a quick update on the bachelor's degree. There a lot of ongoing conversation around the bachelor's of applied science and education. Our team has worked really hard to come up with evidence and support as to the reason we're doing it and how and why it's supporting the regional demand that our local superintendents and school districts have requested. I met with superintendents yesterday for their monthly meeting and reiterated to them, we're receiving a lot of pressure and concern about this, and they in the group continue to ask us to stay the course, and a number of them offered to provide support or testimony if necessary. So it's very clear that we're responding to industry in our areas need. We also are on record saying over and over again, this is not designed to compete with SOU. We are hoping that SOU continues to have and has a thriving education department. This is to support and supplement that. What we have seen, I was talking to one of our smaller districts yesterday. They have 17 teachers, 5 of whom are provisionally licensed and are seeking their bachelor's degree, and all 5 of them are seeking them from out-of-state institutions. And that's the issue that we're trying to address here. So a lot of work ahead. We're told that what happens is it's basically a 3-phase process, and we received permission to move into phase 2. However, HEC will not vote on giving authority for us to offer the bachelor's degrees. That vote won't occur till April. And so there are a lot of key conversations. I've got a conversation with a couple executive director of HEC and a couple other presidents later this week to continue conversation on the topic. I wanted to 2 more things I wanted to update you on in addition to my written report. I'll field any questions on if you have any. A couple meetings ago, we had a comment around public comments and how rare it is to receive positive information at those. And I had this kind of epiphany, and I said, you know what I want to do? I want to go to each one of our school districts, and I want to just thank them for their work and partnership with RCC. And so we've got a team, our high school programs, Rachel, who was here earlier tonight, giving public comment. She's working with ESOM's team to help me with some data and information. But in the first couple months of the calendar year, I'm gonna hit as many of our school districts as I can and just give public comment at their respective meetings, just thanking them for the work that they support their teams doing with us. And I'll have some data. So no ask associated with it, but just thought in the spirit of, how do we model the behavior we'd like to see, thought I would do that. And I think my wife's sick of seeing me in the evening. I'll get away from the house. I will say that what I want to spend the rest of my time with is giving you guys a heads up on conversation that is definitely coming down the pipe. So we received notice about a week and a half ago from Executive Director of HEC, Ben Cannon, that they're doing a spending and efficiency in Oregon Public University's report as part of their HEC report. It's a 66-page report, but from it, and they're looking at basically the current fiscal position of the universities. But from that report, they came up with 5 detailed recommendations. There's quite a bit on these pages. And what I did is I had Rochelle email each of you both the full reports I'm referencing here, so you can dig into them a little bit deeper later. So just quick highlights though. On the HEC report on page 36, the recommendations are first, and this is the one that's creating the most consternation across the state. The legislature should direct HEC in consultation with Oregon's public higher education institutions, including community colleges, to develop a proposal or proposals for targeted institutional integration by January 2027. The second one is the legislature should require academic degree programs at public universities to be periodically reviewed and renewed by HEC. Thirdly, appropriating a separate salary pool to support essential compensation increases. This is borrowed mostly from the Washington model, where the state basically set some caps on what compensations could or would look like. Fourth, in setting priorities for state higher education capital investments, the HEC and the legislature should put a greater emphasis on the replacement of IT infrastructure. And then lastly, the legislature should fund targeted sustainability and integration efforts at public universities. So again, this is a report that was put together in review of the public universities. However, it was in consultation with other parties. HEC leadership decided to make sure they included community colleges in that development of a proposal for targeting institutional integration. I have a couple of comments on that, but before I make them, the other piece of information that I shared with you is from is a detailed report that HEC leadership Jim Pinkard, who's in charge of finance for HEC, presented to the provost. And in this document, it's a 14-page document, so there's no shortage of reading for you. I'll highlight it a little bit. What it does is it does a really good job of differentiating the funding designs and structure for Oregon's community colleges versus its public universities. Then the next couple of pages in the report are university specific. If you look at then the community college model on page 9, then it talks about how our funding at the community colleges are different by enrollment funding, base funding, categorical, what's reimbursable FTE, what's not reimbursable FTE, that we have a growth management cap, the impact of that growth management cap a little bit. So there's quite a bit of information in there, but I would encourage you to familiarize yourself with knowledge that this conversation is occurring across our state. And if amidst all this information we've shared with you this evening, I would say the first page of the funding distribution models is probably the handiest as far as knowing, okay, the nuanced differences between the colleges and universities, how we fund one at an FTE and another is funded by student completions and so components. So that might be good because I suspect that these conversations will come up in the community and circles that you run in. The last couple of comments I want to make on this was, hopefully it's no secret to any of you that that Rick Bailey, president SOU, and I really try to make sure that we foster a really close relationship between the two of us, and then therefore our institutions. That we have both really came to the conclusion that our competition isn't each other. Our competition is non-participation in education in the Valley. And so we want to support each other's success. We want to prop one another up, make sure that we're not unnecessarily duplicating things where duplications aren't done, but also that unmet workforce shortages are addressed by one of us where post-secondary is needed. So that's kind of a commitment we've made. And so my two reflections on all this conversation are that, first off, RCC has worked really hard over several years, but even over the last couple of years, we've demonstrated our relevance, our need, our ability to respond to the community. So I don't have tremendous fear about RCC in these integration talks. The second comment I will make is that, and this is something that Rick and I have both talked about, is that Southern Oregon benefits from a thriving community college and a thriving baccalaureate university. That we don't see a better Southern Oregon by not having a baccalaureate institution and a community college. And I, very comfortable going on record. And I think that he's expressed interest in doing that too. So as more and more public questions, comments, sentiment come out, that's something that we both want to be able to say is that for Southern Oregon to thrive, we need both of our institution types to be performing at optimal levels. With that, I will conclude my comments and field any questions if you have any.
Being none, unless Roger, you open your mouth. Okay.
I assume there's more to come.
There will definitely be more to come. I will say, I subscribe to the theory that, I'll say this too. At the Oregon Business Summit last week was the first time I heard the governor express interest in setting some priority for dedicated college and university post-secondary funding. So we made this commitment as a state a couple of years ago for K-12. And I look at it like, here's an opportunity for us to demonstrate how we are economic drivers, we support workforce in our region, why we're a good investment, or it's an opportunity for us to express grave concern and defensiveness. I prefer to say we're a good investment. This is why it's important to if you want Oregon to go a certain direction, investing in your community college is a wise thing. So I say all that to say, talk to me if you feel differently. But my focus moving forward will be how do we approach this from a position of leadership and opportunity and not threat and fear.
I appreciate the sentiments about the importance of having both types. It's about opportunity and access and growing to be bettering our lives in the Valley, right? All right, senior leadership team. Did you rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, we drew straws.
Okay, and you got the long straw?
No.
Got it.
So yeah, there's just two things really. First, I wanted to let the board know that Dean April Hamlin has resigned from the college and she's moved on. So she left early December. Her last day was the first week of this month. So I just wanted to let you know that we do have an interim plan in place. And we have been reviewing, the role and the needs of the college and just making sure we're moving in the right direction before we open that up potentially. And so we hope that she's doing great in her next venture. And so wanted to share that with you. The second thing is you could see in the written report all of the all the activities that have been going on, you know, the recruiting, the outreach, all high school partnerships through academics, through all of the things that we've been doing, trying to create that culture of transfer with all the trio, all those things. And we just wanted to recognize all of the hard work that all of the employees here at RCC have been doing this year, and also all of the work that you all have been doing as a board. So thank you for that, and we hope that you have great holidays, and we will have much more to come in January.
He designated Dave as our speaker,
Oh, you were the whole meal deal. Gotcha.
but of course, welcome any question.
I will tell you, and I probably should say it for roundtable, but I'm not going to. Reading the reports from staff is the best part. Like I sat down on my Sunday afternoon and I read through it and look at everything, and it really helps tell the story of what's happening in the college and helps me be better informed to be able to do my job here. So I appreciate all the hard work. It does not go unread. I just want you to know that. I have an alarm on my phone and everything that reminds me to do it. All right, we heard quite a bit from you. Dr. Mohammed, do you have anything else you want to share today?
I think I'm good, man.
Okay, okay. Jess.
Okay, so you also have my report, and thank you for reading my report. Just some highlights. Our invested funds balance as of December 10th was $21,860,000. And our net income in the foundation from July 1st to date was a little over $3 million. Of those funds, a total of $1,566,000 went towards endowments, scholarships, unrestricted donations, and projects. And our fall appeal went out, and to date, it's higher than this, but as of the 10th, it was $62,135. Our total scholarship awards thus far this year are $904,000+. And just to highlight, we're focusing on lots of ways to recognize all of our donors, but really just refocusing our attention on our Rogue Heroes, which are our employees that give monthly. And so we're doing a Rogue Hero Spotlight that'll be featured in the Rogue Report each month. And our staff, Haley and Faina, made sure that all of our Rogue Heroes on Giving Tuesday got a big giant cookie. So that was fun and exciting. And just real quick, we had representatives from the American Association of Women in Community Colleges. And while they were talking, I pulled up their historical gift into their endowed fund was $19,541. And so just to show how a perm corpus grows, their pooled market value is now at $33,913. So just the beauty of those endowed scholarships. And thank you all for your support.
Thank you for the detail that you put into your report. I really appreciate that. I don't know if it's nice to see it broken down. All the narrative you do at the back, especially. All right. Moving on to our board action information. We'll start with the monthly financial data report. Any questions for Lisa? Anything you want to say?
I'm gonna combine a couple items as I go through. There's not a lot of changes to the financial statements. We do have preliminary posting. So you'll see actuals down there and the tuition and fees on page 6 for the general fund. Very, very early. That was December, I think 6th or 9th. I don't remember the date off. It is written in there. So please look at that with a grain of salt. We still believe the projections that we have of around 5 million for winter term is accurate. The next thing is you do have budget transfers within your consent agenda. Last month, we talked through that we were making adjustments and that the college had recognized 1.25 million that they were going to make adjustments for in case the 5% that the state was saying they were going to cut from the Community College Support Fund actually occurred. And so the budget adjustment and the resolution itself have different numbers. So I just wanted to talk about that just a little bit. Now, the adjustments that we're talking through are not in the November financial statements that you have in front of you. They will come through in the December financial statements that you'll receive in January. So with that, we were able to reduce materials and services spending and recapture unspent innovation fund dollars to the tune of $603,000. The foundation provided $400,000 for some projects and classroom upgrades. And then we do anticipate around $250,000 that will reduce our beginning or our ending fund balance. When you actually look at, and I'm going to go to that document, the transfer schedule in the back, you'll see that the transfer out, we're increasing around 145,000, and then we're making these other reductions in the appropriation levels, much smaller than the numbers I just talked about. And so what we're doing is this year was the first year that we budgeted the variance within the overall college, and that's in a district account. And so what we're doing is moving those funds in the same appropriation levels when possible out of the department accounts into the district account where that variance is. In addition, we're making some transfers between other funds that you're looking here, and when we couldn't make it within the same appropriation, we're kind of showing that here. So again, it does not, we're doing all of the things, it's just the way we budget and what we need to bring forward. So I'm happy, go ahead,
I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. So essentially, the dollars that are represented by this 5% are being transferred out of what could be considered to be operating funds at this point. So if that doesn't happen, we're not unduly penalizing anybody at this point. The operations will continue. Right, I was looking at the transfers and see where they came from, etc. So essentially, that's going to be a permanent. Well, I say permanent. That will continue through the academic year. If the instruction says, okay, we don't need 5, we need 3, we're not going to automatically boom them back in there. There's no reason to do that.
Correct. They would need to come forward through our process and ask either for additional funds. Also, divisions and departments work very well together. And so they will work within, a division to figure out how to adjust before they ask for additional dollars.
Got it.
But these funds are actually moving out of their department. They cannot spend it. Yep.
Other questions?
Great. Thank you so much.
All right, we have our revised board call for first reading, revised board policy 3250, instructional planning. Look pretty minor. And also our first reading of the artificial intelligence policy. All right, so we're going to move forward to our action items. I will entertain a motion for 9D.
So moved to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. Those in favor say aye. Raise your hand on the screen so we can see it. Excellent. Okay. Guys, I'll entertain a motion for 9E.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you. 9F.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
G.
Second.
You gotta pick which one you want
Right.
there. Any discussion around budget management? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Now we're going to move on to the next section, which is around new programs. I'll entertain a motion for the Bachelor of Applied Science and Education.
I'll move it.
Okay.
Second.
All right, discussion.
My only comment was that, we have yet to get authorization to do it, but I think it's I think it's prudent to go ahead and have the policy in place.
All those in favor signify say aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you. High school CTE teaching license preparation certificate.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Emergency medical technician foundational career pathway certificate.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
You may want to tell Gary and Maria, they can pipe in anytime.
They're doing a great job. They're raising their hand. They're engaged. New program fire science foundational career pathway certificate.
Move approval.
Second.
You could hold up your fingers, I guess, if you want to be the second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Pre-dental assistant career pathway certificate.
Move approval.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See, I don't have to say opposed when everybody raises their hand the first time. It's pretty good. All right, moving on to the GMP Amendment 1 with Detroit Construction for CMGG Services Early Work. Any introduction before we do anything on it?
I don't have any introduction. If you have any questions, we'd probably be happy to tag team. And I tag team might be happy to hand it off to Greg.
Well, I'll entertain a motion first and then we can do any questions during discussion.
Move to
Yeah.
approve.
Second.
All right, questions, discussion.
My only comment is like when you did the science building and the medical. Is this part of that where you have to go out and bid first? Is this at that level or this prior to that level?
This is prior to it,
That's what I thought.
early work.
Yeah.
So this is in preparation for long lead
Yeah.
items.
I saw that.
Very long lead items. Now, when design is 100% completed, meaning all the details inside the building, we will go out to bid.
For construction?
All the subcontract work.
Right.
At that time, we'll bring back a GMP, a full project GMP.
Right.
The intent is to bring that forward for your review and approval in April.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, I will entertain a motion to accept our 24-25 audit.
Move approval.
No, second. I do have a question.
Okay, now's the time for a discussion question.
My question is, what's the consequence if we say no?
Oh, I would have to look that up outside of me crying.
Okay. Well, we can't have that.
I would say since it was an unmodified opinion of the
Yeah.
highest order, I do not think we need to
Yeah.
spend time on that. So, all right, any other discussions or questions? All right, all those in favor say aye. Excellent. And our emeritus status, Juliet Lung.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, discussion. I really enjoyed reading that.
Yeah.
It was just spot on. So, I haven't been on the board as long as some people, but I appreciate all the work that Juliet's put into our community, the college,
For a decade.
for a long time.
Before you were born.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of emeritus status for Juliet Long, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Excellent. All right, any new business? None?
This evening.
All right, old business. Sounds bad to say old. But, Transportation Technology Center project update. You gave us a little bit. Is there anything you want to add?
Just adding that there's two extra sections in the report. Just wanted to draw your attention if you haven't already seen that. One is to talk about the funding that Roger, you had mentioned at the last board meeting. That addresses that question and provides that information. And then the other is the foundation campaign have a progress page to show the dollars that are available for the equipment for those two facilities. Other than that, the other information, upcoming milestones, past milestones, those are always in rotation. The new items, just to clarify, that I add on the new one. And I just want to bring attention lastly to the Redwood Campus project. As you can see on the schedule there, we're trying to bring that together so that we can reach a GMP, a project GMP for both at the same time.
If I can jump in, I have
Yeah,
a couple
go for
of
it.
things. So, I do want to go forward and just say thank you for moving forward with the early work packages. When we're looking at, and you move down to talking about the capital campaign for the foundation, we are looking to what we're bringing forward with the early work package in the building for TRC that is not with the additive alternates. And so what we're building and where we would like to go is to make sure that there's room within that building to grow. And so to move that building bigger with the additive alternates, the way Greg has worked with the architects will allow us to easily add on bays. And I believe it's 6 additional, or is it 4 additional bays at TRC? 6 additional bays at TRC. We will need to move forward with a capital campaign. In addition, those buildings won't be empty.
Yeah.
We do have equipment that we're putting into those buildings. We would like new equipment in some cases. They will be full. There will be the equipment they have and need, but there's always improvements, and we'd like to make sure we're up to industry standards. And so to be able to do that, to go out and ask our industry partners to provide some support, but also doing a capital campaign with the foundation. And so that's for both buildings. With the additive alternates, again, we're waiting on the Redwood building to bring forward the early work package, as we're still in design development.
I mean, it's such smart thinking to build for the future instead of having to scramble after. Any other? All right. Moving on to our consent agenda. The consent agenda can be approved in one motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussions? All right, all those in favor say aye. Excellent. And a round table. We'll start online if anyone wants to jump in, and then we'll move to in person. Nothing from Gary, Maria, nothing? All right.
Oh, I always have something to say.
Okay.
I wanted to express my appreciation for letting me serve on the OCCA board. It has been fascinating. It's been worthwhile. A little bit bigger picture of how things work. And you get to appreciate how many really good institutions we have in the state and how many really qualified, good folks are there. Even the presidents are okay. So it's so I do want to share that with everybody. And as you can tell, I enjoy it. So thank you.
I guess I just wanted to thank Pat for taking that on. And wish everybody happy holidays.
Yes.
And I have done my appreciation as we've gone throughout the meeting. So I just wish you all a great time with your families during this season, and that you get to be with those you love, doing the things you love. Yes. So we will be adjourning our regular meeting to move into executive session right now. I'll read that part first. Okay, the Board of Education will now adjourn the regular meeting at 6:08 and move into executive session pursuant to ORS 192-602D labor negotiations. The board will not be reconvening after the executive session, and any final action will take place at the next regular meeting of the board. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. A couple of minutes work after we get this out.